Hello, everyone. Good morning or good evening. How are you, people? After a long 3 days, huh?
Good evening, sir.
Hi. So, how's the progress? So, guys, hope you all can see my screen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, 21st, last Friday. Yeah. Okay. So, today we are on day 18. And still it's going on. All right. So, where we are? Shall we continue with the next module? Ansible?
Yeah, look, sir. Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
What? Yeah. Jenkins is not yet completed, yeah.
No, actually, Jenkins, I said.
Huh?
And Jenkins only I just said. Fine. Okay.
Just thought of checking how much of your how much you are attentive, but you proved it. Okay, so we are on Jenkins module, and I hope now you people are comfortable with the purpose of Jenkins build orchestration tool. You should be clear with the architecture of Jenkins. And very important thing is, as a DevOps resource, what will be your roles and responsibilities using Jenkins? And also, I was expecting you to install and configure Jenkins, right? Did you get a chance to work on it based upon the documentations which I shared with you people? Hmm? Did you get a chance to work on it? Any questions related to that? Please let me know. Hope you all able to access Jenkins server now, correct? Through your web
Yes.
browser.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So you're all able to access Jenkins server now. And where it is. Fine. Let me quickly access my Jenkins dashboard. Okay. So I'm on my Jenkins AWS console now. Okay, so I just logged in as a DevOps admin user. All right, fine. So what I'll do, I'll get into this EC2 dashboard and I'll quickly create an instance and I'll show you how to set it up. here. Hmm. So maybe it's a repetition for you people. It's for your information, it's my new account. Okay. So let me create it from the scratch. In the meantime, if you want, you can log in to your Jenkins dashboard. Okay. I hope you already have, right? Okay. So yeah, no problem. You can log in and keep it ready. Okay. So I'm just trying to launch a node to install Jenkins and other dependencies for Jenkins. Like I'm using same T2 micro instance and there's a key pair. Let it be the same. The key, whatever we have, let it be the same. And one instance I'm going to launch now. All right. So let me get into my dashboard. So first thing is you have to update your inbound rules associated to the security group. Hope you all clear with this, right? Please respond. Okay, you can unmute the line and speak, no problem. Done. So now if you can see my instance, I should be able to access it through my web browser or through my mobile external. So let me get into this machine. Ubuntu, Ubuntu, Ubuntu. Okay, so this is a key pair which I just created. In your case, it should be in your downloads folder, but when I create any key pair, I just route it to this directory. Okay, it's a personal folder we can maintain for our things. So this is a PEM file which I just created, and let me attach it. I hope you all expert in these things now, right?
Yes, looks right.
Perfect. I like that confidence. So root user. So let us update the packages.
Looks like meanwhile you are doing this, I just want to ask one thing.
Okay.
Uh, Allow me just a moment, just 1 minute, please.
I'll ask 1 minute. So now that we have updated our default packages and you can able to continue with your documentation, which I shared. Okay. Even if you get into this official page also, you are going to capture all these details. So I've just updated the default packages. And since it's my Ubuntu machine, I can see Git version. Git is already part of that server. So in latest version of your Ubuntu machines or any Linux machine, Git is already pre-configured. Okay, so you only need to explicitly install it. That's the reason I mentioned here. You can run this command to install Git if required. If you're using the previous or older versions of Ubuntu or older versions of CentOS or RHEL, in the case it is required, but the latest version, it comes with Git. And you can able to verify it by using git version command. And then we can get into the installation of JDK. I'm going to install JDK first. And once JDK is installed, then we can install our Jenkins. What is that question?
Yeah, so my question is for the same Jenkins. So the document which you shared with us yesterday in the last class, in which it was mentioned that we need to enable the port 8080 from the Amazon console, right?
Okay.
So I installed the packages as a root user, and after that I enabled the port 8080. So is that a correct practice or?
That doesn't matter.
Okay.
In order to access your Jenkins service through your web browser, you need that port.
Got it.
If you're not enabled the port number, means you cannot access it through your web browser, but it will be up and running in your local machine actually.
In the instance.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. So I was just confused that I enabled it after the installation.
But as a best practice, right, we should fulfill the infra level prerequisites. Then we can fulfill the software level prerequisite and then install actual Jenkins.
Correct. You are right.
Right. So we have just installed JDK and OpenJDK 17.0.14 has been installed now. And I can quickly run all these commands to install the prerequisites for Jenkins repository and update the packages and update the default packages again. And finally, install Jenkins. So these documents, it can be a reference for you. Okay, it's like a lab manual. But always I recommend you to go through this official page and cross verify it. Correct? Because if you're using this document down the line after 6 months, these packages might get outdated because this already is pointing to 2023. It was released on 2023. It's 2 years old almost now. So they might be come up with a new version. So always ensure that you go to your official page and understand the latest version or the recommended version from that page and use it for your installation. Correct. So now we have updated the default packages and let's install Jenkins. So any one of you are unable to perform this task or finding any challenges, if you're unable to understand anything, ex non-IT people. So we have the Jenkins available now. Okay, I thought of doing it earlier, but still I want to do it in front of you people so that you can able to at least it will be like a revision for you. Now that we have installed Jenkins and from the installation itself, I can even understand that it has created a service and it has enabled the service. See here this process, this command. So if you are technically aware of these process, right, you don't need to explicitly run the command to check whether this is up and running or not. As part of the installation itself, it is clearly given the statement created symbolic link to the service and enable the service as a startup task. So it means it is up and running. That's what understandable. Still, if you want, you can use this command to check whether that service is up and running. Got it? Neeraj, you need access for AWS account. What it mean? It was the very first thing, right? When we start with the Linux mod itself, we talked about, right? You haven't created an account. Neeraj, please unmute and speak. What's the problem? What's the issue there? What is the challenge? Even on Friday also, I was expecting you to do that, right? Please unmute and speak. I want to check. Like,
Hi, Loksai.
Yeah.
It's Mohsin side. Okay, so I'm facing some issue when I'm uh, uh, paste the port number and this IP address in this web browser. So that time I'm unable to uh, open this Jenkins side, like administration password and all the things will become up like this.
Okay, just follow the process. Okay, like whatever I'm doing now, you can follow this process. I've just completed the installation of Jenkins, and the next step is to use the external IP address of the machine using port 8080 to access it. Got it?
Yeah, I have given this one in the web browser, but it is showing this site is unable to.
Have you
like
enabled the
it.
port 8080?
Yeah, port it is unable. Yes.
Need to check that then. Check whether the server is up and running. Run this command systemctl status Jenkins. See, there are a lot of scenarios, okay? Like if the Jenkins, whatever you installed, if it is not updated with proper JDK package, the service, if it is not up and running, or if the port is not enabled properly, there might be some issues. So you need to follow the steps clearly. Don't bypass anything. You can, if you want, you can recreate. Correct. So now we have installed Jenkins. And as I said, this is the default directory of your Jenkins page. Right? I don't have any plugins as of now, and I can see there is a secrets folder with the initial password, right? So this is what the content. So this is something accessible only by the Jenkins administrators. Developers will not get an opportunity to work on these things. We just access it through admin credentials. I hope everyone able to reach till this level. And if you can see this current working directory, this is what the folder where we have the initial password. So now, if I use my instance, I'm taking the public IP address of the machine or by port 8080. So if I run this command, I should be able to access my dashboard, and here it will take me to this particular path to set up your details. Can you see this? So this details. If you want, you can directly copy this and give a command cat followed by that file name. You'll be getting this. So you are unable to access this page, right? That's what you're saying. Motion.
Yeah, yes.
So now I'm able to access. If you're following my steps properly, definitely you also should be able to access it.
Okay, I will try again for that.
Yeah, please stay focused and execute each and every line. Before you copy paste the command, just read that. What is the purpose of it and then make it. So in your case, check with the port number. I think there might be some issue with the port number there. Because of that reason only, your page might not be visible.
Okay.
Right. And Neeraj, if you're on call, do you need any help to create your account, AWS account? Or why it is not created? What is the challenge there? Okay, thanks for that. Fine. So now let's get into this and let me add this. Continue. So here it is expecting me to set up the Jenkins plugins, right? So plugins are the extensions to Jenkins. It is going to add value to your Jenkins. Okay, and in order to work on this, you have to install all the plugins that are recommended by Jenkins. Install the such plugins. Don't go with the custom selection, because if you're going with the custom selection, you have to manually choose one by one. If you miss something, then again it leads to rework. So even it is officially recommended to use the suggested plugins to be installed. So use the first option to install all the required plugins. So when you start the process where these plugins are getting installed means from the default directory, if you go to that plugins folder, you should be able to see that. It's a huge list, okay? It might take some time. Hmm. In the meantime, any other questions from anyone?
Looks like you mentioned the slash at the end while opening a folder, right?
Which folder?
The previous folder plugins. Scroll up.
See, it's very simple. If I simply say cd dot dot, and if I say cd to the plugins, if I use tab, it will pre-fill the name and proceed. There's no issues.
Okay, you press the tab. Okay.
Yeah. So now that the initial ID credentials are ready, and if you can see here, we have to prepare the initial admin user. So let me create one ID here. Right. So for your reference, I've just updated the details like this: the username, password, name, and the email ID. And then save and continue. So it will take you to the next page where you can able to see the instance configuration. In real-time environment, you'll be getting the DNS name, the web URL. If you want, you can configure it. Or if you have any static or elastic IP address, you can use this here. But in our case, it is not required. Why? Because when you try to access your web browser, you need to go to your instance list and take the latest IP address from the instance. If you save your IP address somewhere and if you use the same after restarting your machine, it will not work. Sometimes people might be doing such things. Like if you see my documentation here, for the sake of this demo, I shared this link, right? It doesn't mean that I saved this IP address here. It is just for example. So do not save your public IP address anywhere. There's no use out of it. So simply you can skip this step. Not now. That's it. So now my Jenkins is up and running. I'm able to access the Jenkins dashboard. Easy. Are we good with this, all of you?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, let's
Yes.
proceed with the next step. So as per the process, we have done with the installation of Jenkins, and we are going to perform all these activities now. So today we'll be focusing on all these things, like how to manage your plugins, global system configurations, and your tools management, user management, everything. I'll show you one after the other. Please pay attention. And I strongly recommend do not try anything along with me. I just want people to do the installation during this live session. Why? Because you already completed your Linux module, and I was expecting you to do that by yourself. But going forward, don't try anything while we are in the live session. You might be missing the context. So first try to understand what it is. I'll be showing a demo of each and everything step by step. Try to understand and you can do it offline. Is it clear? Now, if you can see my Jenkins server, these many plugins are installed as part of the initial configuration. But sometimes, we might need more plugins based upon our requirement, or we might need to uninstall some plugins if it is not in use, or we need to upgrade some plugins. So how to manage the plugins means, for that we can use your dashboard. So go to your Jenkins dashboard, and to understand the user interface here, you can see your user ID on top. You can log out at any point of time, and you can see there's something called new item. So if you click on this new item, it will take you to the page where you can able to create your new projects, Jenkins projects. And then this build history will get you the complete list of builds that you have executed in this server. And we have something called manage Jenkins, which is used to perform all the system configurations and manage Jenkins server. Like I was talking about this thing, right? Like your plugins management, everything. So as an administrator, we'll be promptly working on this particular manage Jenkins option. And there is something called my views. This is used to create some custom views for your jobs. Let's say, for example, consider I have my Jenkins server, and assume that I have created some Jenkins project for various application teams. Like I have a project for my Java-based applications, .NET-based applications, or Python-based applications. So each and every application will be having their own jobs. So I can create a separate view for them. It's like a perspective where I can able to quickly access their jobs. I'll show you how to do that. And in addition to that, something called build queue and build executor status. So build executor status means it is used to identify the node that helps to run your job. It's an executor actually. For example, consider I want to run two projects at the same time, two build jobs at the same time. That will be possible only because of this build executor. So build executor is used to run your job. You can see as part of the initial configuration, you have two build executors. Two executors are available. Out of that, both are available now. 0 of 2 executors are busy. So what is the purpose of build executor means? It is used to run the jobs in parallel. If you say build executor as one means you can able to run only one job at a time. If you want to run multiple jobs, you can able to increase the build executors as per the need. For example, consider I have assigned the build executor value as 5. So what it mean?
We can run 5 projects.
Jobs,
Something.
right? We can able to run 5 projects, jobs at the same time. But assume that I have triggered around 10 jobs. 10 jobs are triggered at a time from my application team. What will happen now? So you have just 5 executor available, but your triggered 10 jobs means it will execute the 5 jobs at a time, and remaining 5 jobs will be waiting the build queue. So build queue means it is a queue used to maintain the list of jobs that are pending for execution. You see? So in real-time environment, we'll be very frequently using these options. If you want, you can able to customize this also. We can able to add more number of executors. I'll show you how to do that. Right. So these are some options on your dashboard once you log in. Now our main focus is manage Jenkins. So go to your dashboard and click on this manage Jenkins. It will take you to a manage Jenkins dashboard where you can able to see a lot of configurations related to system, security, status information, other stuff. So all our administration activities can be performed from this page. So there is something called system configuration, the global settings. That is what I was talking about here, global system configuration. So what is the need for this global system configuration means? If you get into this system configuration page, it will show you a complete picture, like what are all things we can configure, what are the default properties of a server. Let's say this Jenkins server, its home directory is this one. I showed you, right? This is a home directory for Jenkins. And if you want, you can able to set some message for the server, like a description of the server, like this is my test Jenkins server. And then the number of executors, you can see. I hope you noticed, right? By default, there are 2 build executors were there, because it is configured as 2. If you want, you can able to increase it to 5 and click on apply. So whenever we make any changes in your configuration, you can apply the changes and the configuration changes will have immediate impact. So here you can see this page will get refreshed. Now it is 5. So like this, we can able to update the number of executors as per your need. And the label is just to uniquely identify a node. And apart from that, this page where we can able to set up your Jenkins URL. Tomorrow, if you configure your DNS or any static IP address, you can fix it, save it here. And all the remote servers, like tomorrow you'll be accessing multiple remote servers. Like we have some slave nodes, we have some Tomcat server, we have some Kubernetes server. So all the remote server configurations and your GitHub repository configurations, your email notifications, all these things are configured in this system configuration page. That is about the global configuration. You see, so ultimately this global configuration is used to set up the default configuration for your Jenkins. And the next important thing is the plugins management. If you, from this dashboard, go to manage Jenkins and select the plugins. So if you get into this plugins management page, you can see there are various options available. Like we have updates, available plugins, install plugins and all. So if you click on the installed plugins, you can see the list of plugins that are already installed in your machine. Like you can see here, right? I was showing you in this directory. So what are all the plugins that are installed in your machine? It can be accessible through your web page here. Right, all these things are available. So at any point of time, you can able to enable or disable. Let's say this Ant plugin is one of the plugins for build. If this plugin is not required, or if you want to disable it, just simply disable it. That's all. Or if you think that plugin is no longer required, you can simply go ahead and uninstall the plugin. So this is what we call it as a plugins management. So you should know how to get into the plugin, install plugins, and enable or disable the plugin or uninstall from this install plugin tab. Or you can use a search bar to search for it. Like you can able to search for any plugins like Gradle. Or let's say if you want to work on Java based projects, if you want to work on Maven plugin, means search for Maven. See, Maven plugin is not installed by default, right? As part of my initial configuration, Maven plugin is not installed. So I want to install this plugin now. How to do that? That is where we have option called available plugins. Just click on this available plugins tab And here you can able to find the list of plugins that are available for installation. Here you can search for the plugin like Maven. See, we have a Maven plugin available now. Just enable the checkbox and click on install. It will download the plugin and install the plugin through your dashboard itself. And few plugins needs restart. You need to restart your Jenkins service to make it active. If that is the case, just enable checkbox. Your Jenkins service will get restarted upon installation. Easy. Now, if you go to your install plugins tab and search for Maven, it is available. Any question? Any question?
No.
Scary.
So I repeat, installed plugins tab is used to get the list of plugins that are already installed, and available plugins tab is used to get the list of plugins that you want to install in your machine. Let's say you want to work in Docker. In the upcoming modules, we use Docker, right? Let me check if Docker is already installed. Under install plugins tab, let me search for Docker. It's not installed. Similarly, I have something called Kubernetes. It's not available. So let me go to available instance plugin and I can search for Docker. It's available for installation, right? So how to install Docker plugin now? How can I install the plugin here?
By selecting the Docker, and after that we can click on that install.
Yeah. So if I select this plugin and click on the install button, what will happen? This plugin will get installed. It means Docker 1.9.0 version will get installed. So whenever you directly click on this install button, it will try to install the latest version of the plugin. But consider I'm not interested in the latest version because I'm not sure what are the issues might be there in the latest version. I want to install the previous version. In that case, instead of enabling the checkbox, directly click on that plugin name. Open that plugin details in the new tab. See here. Every plugin has its own documentation. Jenkins having thousands of plugins list, and each and every plugin they have maintained a proper documentation. That's what Jenkins is one of the very good self-documented tool. If you want to know or learn about Jenkins, you no need to search anywhere. From Jenkins, we can able to understand everything. That is how it is configured. So which plugin you are interested, click on the plugin and go to the official page. You will get the complete picture about the plugin, what it's all about, how to use it, how to configure in your job, how to install. Everything is available here. And in the same page, there's something called release tab. See, these are all the releases of the plugin. See, the latest version, just 4 weeks ago, they released this version 1.9.0. But if you're not interested to install the latest version, like say, for example, I want to go with the previous version means, because I'm not sure what this feature is all about, whether it is properly tested or not, I'm not sure about it. So what I can do, if I want to run the previous version, go to that version number, right click on that version number and copy the link address. I repeat, choose the plugin from the official page, go to the releases tab, and which version of plugins you want to install, right click on that plugin name and copy that link address. Once you copy that link address, come back to your plugins management page, and here you can see something called advanced settings. Click on that. And here it will expect the URL to be used for deployment. So the plugins can be deployed or installed manually by using your specific version. So the URL, whatever we copied here, have it in your URL tab and deploy it. See, that Jenkins version is getting installed. Observe this feature. Correct. So now if you go to your installed plugins tab and search for Docker, see Docker 1.8.0 is installed. Correct. And also, if you notice this updates tab, now you can see there is one new symbol available now. What it mean? If you click on that updates field, you can see it is showing one new update is available because we installed the previous version. The latest version is available for installation. So like this, the updates tab will get you the complete list of plugins that are available. The latest version or any updates are available for the plugin. It will be available on this page. What you can do, you can click on that version, go to the release document and understand the release document or release notes, whatever they mentioned. If that feature is required for you, you can go and update it. Click on that plugin name and update it. That's all. See, it gets updated now. See, it is downloaded successfully and it will be activated during the next reboot. All right. So this is how we manage the plugins in our Jenkins. Any question? So as part of your plugins management, you should know how to enable, disable, uninstall, install, or upgrade. Is that possible now to all of you?
Yes.
Yes.
Am I making things clear to everyone? Able to follow this?
Yes, Abhay.
Yes, Sai.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So this is all about your plugins management. Now let's go back to our dashboard. And again, let's get into the manage Jenkins. So the next item in the list is about the tools management. The tools management is something used to configure the tools, identify the locations and the installer. If you get into this option here, you can able to see the various list of tools are available for configuration. It depends on the plugin you install. If you install Docker plugin means it will expect you to configure Docker, Maven, like that. What are the plugins you installed? If the tools has to be configured, you can able to configure it from here. Say for example, I want to work in my Java project and I want to set up the Maven plugin. So if you click on add Maven, it is expecting me to enter the name of the tool. And then we have something called home, Maven home. So what it mean, you guys are aware of the environmental variable, right?
Yes.
So when I install any tool, to recognize the tool, I need to set up the environment variable, the path of that tool where I've installed. So that should be configured as a home variable. And it is applicable for any tool that you install. Correct. So tomorrow, if you're working on multiple slave nodes, consider I have created around 5 slave nodes. And in all the 5 slave nodes, I have installed Maven. So which version of Maven I want to use? Where that Maven tool is installed? What is the home directory of Maven? That can be configured from this page. So tomorrow, if once I start with my Jenkins pipeline projects, I'll show you how to configure it, because as of now, we never installed any Maven. So we'll discuss once we start installing it. But as of now, understand this tools management is used to set up the tools home directory, as well as you can able to configure your version of your installation. Correct. Now, the next item in the list is about the users. The node configuration we'll see once we start with our slave node configuration. I'll show you this under security. There's something called user management, right? The user management. So this user management is used to manage the Jenkins users. Remember, we have created Loksai initial admin user.
Yes.
Yes.
So this is the initial admin user we have created. At any point of time, if you want to update the settings, if you want to change the password, you can do that here. In addition to that, consider I have a developer who wants to access my server, Jenkins server. How I can give access means there are two things here. One is the user authentication, and this is to enable user authorization. All right, so these are two items in the list. User authentication and user authorization. So first we'll see how to enable the user authentication. For that, go to your user management console. And here you have an option called create user. If I click on this button, it will again take me to the same kind of page where I can able to enter the usernames to be created. I can say the username. Something like this I can able to create, like user one, the password, full name, and the email ID. Like this, I can able to individually create the users and maintain my user own database. Got it? So where this data is stored means it is stored in the Jenkins own user database. And where the Jenkins own user database is present, it is actually present in your system. See, if you idle for 30 seconds, right, you get disconnected. Just try to create a duplicate tab or reconnect. So in this home directory of Jenkins, you can see there is a folder called users folder. So just go to the directory, users directory, and here you can find the folders meant for each and every user we have created. So this is the admin user profile, and this is the user one profile which I just created. So if I go to that folder, you can see one XML file there, configured XML file. If you read the content of that config file, it is just an XML file. Jenkins uses the XML file format for maintaining all its user data and any profile data. So the complete information about the user, like ID, the full name, the password and all, it is stored in the form of encrypted form. Correct. And the user email ID, all the parameters will be maintained in this file here. Correct. Let's say if I create one more user in my machine, user 2, user 2, user 2, user 2, user 2, something like this. So if I create one more user, you should be able to see that user details will be available here. So this is what we call it as Jenkins own user database. Correct. And this user database is used for authentication purpose. And this acts as an input for your authorization. Correct. So any doubt in this? And at any point of time, if you want, you can delete that user, or you can able to change the properties of the user. Let's say if you go to the user profile, from this page, if you click on settings button, it will take you to that profile, and you can able to view the account details. You can able to manage the users. Everything is possible from here. Any question in creating the user database?
No, Loksai.
No.
All right. So now I have created one user called user1, and how I can give access to this user, because we have to talk about the authorization now. So for that, what you can do means you can go back to your Jenkins dashboard, go to manage Jenkins, and here you can see something called security tab. Previously, we used the user tab to create, delete, or modify the user, but now this is about security tab. Just click on security tab where you can able to find the option called user authentication and authorization. So for user, hope it's visible, right? So for user authentication, it uses the Jenkins own user database. That's what you are seeing here. Correct. Jenkins own user databases acts as an input. And for authorization, what are all the actions you're going to perform? If you use a drop down, we have an option called matrix based security. So using this feature, you can able to provide access to any user. For example, consider I have created one user called user1, which is present in the user database. And I want to give some additional access to the user. So I can use an option add user, enter the user name, and proceed. So now this user is added to this authorization process. If I want to add one more user like user3, see that user3, user not found. So it means the user, whatever you're going to add as part of this security authorization process, it will search that user from this database. If it is not present, it cannot provide any access to that user. Now, consider this is user1 and I want to give some access to that user. So how the access can be defined means based upon this matrix based security. So we have various levels of access. Let's say I want to consider this user1 as the administrator, means I can enable the checkbox. So overall administrator access I've enabled here. So I select the initial admin user. This user one also can be an administrator, another administrator. Got it? Or if I want to consider that user as a developer, means as a developer, what are actions you can have? Now, last session we talked about the role of
You
developer, right?
read and execute.
Yeah, so he can just handle only the job related read level. So this is a job related access. So he can able to build the job. He can cancel the job. Build means execute the job. He can cancel the job. He can able to read the job configuration. He can able to read the workspace, the outcome of the job. That's all. So I have enabled only these 4 actions. It means he cannot configure the job, create, delete, or discover anything based on that. Easy. So like this, we can able to give some limited access to any user who wants to access Jenkins server. Easy. Am I clear now?
Yes.
This is one of the options that is available with Jenkins, but in real-time environment, there is something called LDAP server. Like whenever the employee joins an organization, he'll be provided with the email ID, employee ID, and all right. With that email ID and employee ID, he can able to access any applications through their intranet. So that email ID and user ID will be stored in their own Active Directory. So that Active Directory can be access the data source for your user authentication in Jenkins if you configure it. So you have to specify LDAP as a security authentication process or input and specify the server name with all the configuration. Once the LDAP server is configured here, automatically from the LDAP server, this user can be identified. Easy. And it's not a very big deal. Okay, there is a separate security management team at enterprise level. They'll be providing you the LDAP server details along with the configuration parameters, and you can quickly add that server and set up in your Jenkins. Easy. Any question on this?
Loksa, can you hear me?
Yeah.
When it comes to Jenkins configuration, like in real-time environment, it should be a DevOps team Jenkins tool, right? Or is individual tool? It sounds like.
It's completely owned by DevOps team, right? There is nothing called individual, no?
Yeah, I mean completely for the team Jenkins tool, right? It's kind.
Yeah,
So
that's
we'll
right.
create.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
If you're part of DevOps team and if you're having a Jenkins server means as a DevOps team, you'll be having one service ID. It is not like
Okay.
individual user can able to access and all.
Yes, yes, yes.
Even if they access, they can be considered as an admin and administrator. But we will never give such things. We create one common service account ID at the
Okay.
team level.
Okay.
So any question on this?
In authorization, we have an option like authenticated users, right? So
Mhm.
is that mean all users belong to that if we enable that?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
That's right. Easy. So this user management and security management in real-time environment, it will be aligned with the enterprise level security management team, where they maintain their LDAP server or any Active Directories, which contains a list of the users at enterprise level. Got it? You heard about single sign-on options and all? It's all enabled using the LDAP server. It's possible. It means once I log into my machine, let's say I just use this laptop, right? As an administrator, I log into this laptop. Assume that admin is my username to log into this machine. So once I log into this laptop, if I open the Jenkins URL, it will not ask me for the login page or login details. Directly it will allow me to log in and access the application. So with the initial user name and the password, it can allow me to access Jenkins server. That is what single sign-on option. So in real-time environment, you can configure LDAP server and enable it. But for this demo, we'll be using the Jenkins own database to understand how the data is maintained in your Jenkins server. Easy? Hope it's all clear. Is that clear to everyone here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Let me go back to my previous screen. I don't want to save this configuration. Let me leave this changes as it is. That's it. Almost major things are covered. And while we progress, I'll show you how to use a node and how to use the credentials. The credential and all something used to manage your remote credentials. Let's say tomorrow, if you want to save the GitHub credentials or Docker Hub credentials or any remote server credentials, you can use this option. Say, for example, from your Manage Jenkins page, go to this credential configuration page. So this is the credential manager for Jenkins. And here you can see something called global, right? If you use this drop down, it will take you to the credential manager to add credential. And what type of credential you want to add, whether the credential is based upon username and password, or it is based upon the key pair like SS keys, depends upon we can configure it. So tomorrow, once I start with my Jenkins master slave architecture, I'll be showing you how to create these credentials here. Easy. Any other question? So this is all about your management. Got it? Now, next we'll see how to create a CSD pipeline project or any project, Jenkins project. Jobs. Okay. So in general, the Jenkins project or jobs, right? Are of two categories. One we call it as a freestyle project, and the another one is pipeline project. Freestyle project and the pipeline project. So when I say pipeline project, it is something done using the scripts, specifically Groovy script. And this freestyle projects are the manual configuration using the GUI. Got it? So when we talk about the pipeline project, this is something used and implemented in real-time environment. Let's say if you want to, there is an action called creating a pipeline project and onboarding the application, right? So this is what we actually do in a real-time environment. If you want to onboard any applications to DevOps practice to automate the builds and deployments, we create a series of the pipeline projects only, not the freestyle project, because freestyle project is a manual configuration. Why? Because consider I have around 5,000 applications has to be onboarded. It means I have to create 5,000 pipeline projects, correct? So for all these 5,000 projects, can I create 5,000 scripts here? No, I create one script and I just reuse a script for all the 5,000 projects. So if you configure a script, the scripts can be reusable. That is what the main point here. But I cannot create 5,000 manual jobs because these manual jobs are not reusable. You see, so that is a main issue while working on your pre-sale project. Then why we need this? For what purpose we create? Means let's say I am an DevOps resource managing Jenkins server, and I have installed some number of plugins in my Jenkins server, like as what we have seen here. There are some plugins available, right? So over the period of time, I can see some number of plugins are available for update, right? We can able to upgrade some plugins. So before I upgrade, I just want to test that plugin because as soon as I install the latest version, I cannot use that version to create a CSD pipeline. Before I actually implement this for my application team, I have to thoroughly test that version. Without testing this version locally, I cannot release it to my application onboarding. So for such testing, for such internal testing and plugins validation, we can able to use this free sale project. That's it. Just for our internal plugins validation or some process automation. That's all. But we cannot use it for our actual implementation. Easy. Any question on this? All right. So now I'll show you how to create these projects. I'll show you both freestyle and pipeline project. And once you're clear with the process of creation, then I'll take you to the actual CSD pipeline creation and onboard the applications. Easy. If you want, you can have a quick break and come back. We can continue. Any question
Yeah.
before that?
No, I just need 5 minutes.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, please continue.
Hello, Sai. Hello.
Yes.
Looks like I followed all the steps regarding the Jenkins installation, yet it's still not, I'm not able to access it on browser.
What is the error you're getting?
The site can't be reached.
Right? Cannot be reached. Can you go to that security group of that server and check the port number? Port 8080.
Yes.
So it should be something like this. You should click on add rule, port 8080, and custom rule should be zeros.
Okay.
CLI block should be zeros.
Yeah,
Please
check.
verify this once. Uh, is this verified or like what's the status? Like I'm not getting a response here.
Yeah, it's done. Looks like thanks.
It's working now.
Yes, yes.
That's what I'm waiting, right? And initially there is motion, right? I think you also face the same issue. Please
Yeah. Just I
review this
have
once.
done. Everything is done. I'm
The same.
unable to open. I'm
Sorry.
unable to. Yeah, I'm able to open this Jenkins right now. Yeah.
Now it's working, right? So because of
Yeah.
this only, right? The issue.
No, that is not a issue because I have created one instance with this another country, so that's why I'm facing that issue. So that port number is not coming in this web browser.
It's okay.
Looks like we can give the n number of the build executor status, right? Or is there any restriction is there for that?
There's no limitations there.
Mhm.
Depends upon your underlying resource server configuration, you can enter your build executors. But ideally, in real-time environment, we'll be maintaining around 10 to 20.
Okay.
Because let's say you have created your EC2 instance, right? This server is running with T2 micro instance with 1 GB RAM and 1 CPU.
Right.
With this, if you can able to run 100 jobs at the same time, each and every job needs its own process, storage,
Yeah, load
right?
will be
So
high.
it will not be successful, right? So it is purely depends upon underlying infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
You can able to configure a number of build executors.
Okay.
All right, so hope all are back. Shall we continue now?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, so now I'll show you how to create a Jenkins project. Let's start with the freestyle project. Just go to your Jenkins dashboard. And from here, click on new item. It will take you to the new item creation page. And you can enter the name of that project which you want to create. Once again, okay, so I'm on this page, right? Like, listen, please. On this new item, enter the project name. The project name can be anything, but it is recommended to give some relevant name to your project. And if you're trying to create a freestyle project, just choose a template as freestyle project template. Tomorrow, if you create a pipeline project, you can choose pipeline project template. Like that depends on the type of project, you can choose a template. And now give a name of a project and click on this template name, freestyle project template name, and click OK. So this will create a freestyle project and will take you to the project dashboard. So this is our project dashboard. So if you get into any freestyle project here, it will be having some general tab, source code management, triggers, environment, build step, post build actions. All these things are available for manual configuration. So it is not mandatory that we need to use all the parameters, but whenever required, we can use it. Like there are some common things that is required. So in general tab, you can give some description about the project. Like this is a sample freestyle project. And if you want to use your source code repository, let's say I want to identify my source code from the remote repository, means I can use the source code management. And if you enable checkbox for Git, it'll ask for a repository URL. Let's say I want to clone my repository in this project. I can specifically Git repository URL and the credentials if required. Correct? This is one thing. And also there's something called triggers. The triggers are used to automate your schedule. Like I want to run a job. I want to schedule a job to run every day morning at 8 a.m. or every day evening at 10 p.m. So all those things can be done with the help of this triggers here. And another interesting thing is the environments that is used to maintain your environments. Let's say once a job is created and executed, the outcome of the job will maintain the workspace folder, right? So if you want to clean up the workspace or if you want to maintain the workspace, you can able to use the environments. And out of all these things, the most important thing in your job configuration is the build step. Build step is the one of only mandatory thing that is required and other things are optional. So this is what we're going to decide what you're going to do in this job, right? So any Jenkins job composed of some task. The task definition is defined in this build step. So go to this build step option and here you can find something called add build step option. If you use this drop down, you can able to see the list of actions you can able to perform in this job based on the plugins. Say for example, our Jenkins jobs are running in our Linux box, Ubuntu machine. So I can quickly add a build step to execute a shell command. Like go hello. This is a shell command I can able to execute through Jenkins. And this gets executed in my Jenkins server. Correct. Like this, we can able to manage any information. Any message or any shell command you can able to see. Just for example, I'm just showing you how to create a simple project now. So once you give all your executable statements here, if you're okay with the configuration, just click on apply. When you say apply, this job configuration, whatever you did, will be saved permanently. Instead of apply command, if you say save means it will save the configuration and close this page. See, it went back to your jobs dashboard. So once you log into Jenkins, on this dashboard, you can see the project which you have created. If you want to work on the project, just click on the project and open it. It will take you to the jobs dashboard. From this dashboard, you have an option like workspace, build now, configure and all. If you click on configure, it will again take you to the configuration page. You can make some new configurations. But if your intention is to execute your job, in the case, you need to use this build now option. If you click on build now option, this job is scheduled to run. See, it has executed now. So this build is going to show you the list of jobs that are executed. And whenever you execute any job, right, Jenkins job, it will be assigned with a build number. #1 is a build number, along with the date and time and the status of execution. Like here it says a tick mark, right? That means a success state. Like this, you can able to run your job any number of times by clicking on this build now option. Now, this is my job configuration. And as part of my job, I'm expecting this to be printed in the console output, right? So how to check the status of a job means, like here, it says successful. Just click on this and you can open the console output. So console output is the output area of your job, any job that you execute. If you want to check the detailed status of execution, you can reach this console output here. Just click on this tick mark or any symbol. It will directly take you to the console output. Correct.
Are you
Now,
testing manually in this case? Means
listen, please.
printing.
Now, I'm on this console output page. And in this page, you can see the information about the job. What are the status of execution? Like this job was started by this user. Looks like ETA is a full name of this user, and it is running on system, running as system. It means it is running in a master node, and it is building in a workspace. That means within your Jenkins server, under this Jenkins folder, you can see there is a workspace folder created with the project folder. Means if you go to your system level, you can see a project folder is available now. It is empty because we are not creating any, we haven't created any file or folder, right? So just empty workspace is created. And as part of that job configuration, what we define here, we are trying to print these two messages. So it is getting displayed in your console output. Got it? And the status of execution is successful. So this is how we create a job and we will execute and check the status of a job. Any question?
Yes, Loksai. If you will give cat command there in the Linux server, so will it show us this
It
echo?
is used to execute a shell command, right? It can be any command you can give. That's not an issue. It's a cat command or whatever.
No. My question is, you mentioned echo hello here, right?
Yeah.
In the Jenkins. So will it be represented there as well under the Linux server? If I will mention cat and then with this freestyle project one.
See, cat command, what it means actually, it is used to print a message or what? It is used to read the file, right? Hmm?
Are you getting what I'm trying to ask? I lost your voice, sorry.
See, your
Hello?
intention is instead of echo command, you want to use cat command, right?
No, I'm sorry. I lost your voice. Loksai, now you are again audible.
Can you come again? What's the question?
I'm saying you mentioned echo hello here, right? In the Jenkins console, correct?
I have just given in my configuration, job configuration, not the console. So
Yeah,
this is
job.
a command.
Yeah, you mentioned echo hello and then again echo created freestyle project, right? And if I will go there in the Ubuntu VM and if I type cat and then with this directory name freestyle project, would I be able to see that printed there?
See, try to understand one thing. Through this Jenkins project, we are just printing the message to the console. We are not creating any file here.
Okay.
Got it? What is the purpose of echo command in Linux? It is just to print a message, right?
Yes.
And you are talking about cat command. Cat command is used to read the content of the file.
Yes.
Hope you understand the difference now.
Yes.
So as part of this project is concerned, you can see the output only on your console. That's it.
Okay.
Like
Fine.
this, we can able to execute any shell commands. Let's say I have these two commands I've created. Instead of printing this message in my console output, if I use this option, what it mean?
As per my understanding, it will create a file 1.txt. Under that, I will be able to see this created freestyle
So
project.
if I execute this particular project now,
Huh.
it will execute the build number 2. And if I go to the console output of the build number 2, you can see it is having two statements. One is going to print the message on the console, and second is used to create a file out of this message. It is printing a message, and the second command, it is not printing anything here because it is a file. Now, if I say ls, I should be able to see the file available here. You can use a cat command and verify the file content.
Correct.
So listen, please. It is just a process of creating a job, Jenkins job, and running some shell commands. So here we are trying to print some message to console, and we are trying to create a file in the Jenkins project workspace. So this is how we perform the build. Assume that we are trying to perform the application build, and as part of the build, I'm creating some artifacts. The artifacts will be saved in the form of file, right? It can be war file or jar file. So where this file will be saved, it will be saved in your project's workspace directory. You see? Now, assume that as a developer, he has triggered this job and he can able to see the console output. Correct. But if you want to access the file, how we can access? He cannot log into the system like this. For that, there is an option in the web page itself. There is a workspace option available here. From your dashboard, go to the project, and in this project's dashboard, you can see something called workspace option. If you click on this, it will give you the complete workspace directory, file1.txt. If you want, you can download these files as a zip file in local machine, or you can access the file through your web itself. You see? So this is how we create a freestyle project, and we can able to create some workspace as well. This is one thing. And another important thing here is there is something called variables. Handling variables. So there are two types of variables here. One we call it as environmental variables. And another thing is user defined variables. So environment variables are the predefined one. Project. Correct. But these are user defined. These are all user defined. So for example, consider this is my Jenkins dashboard, and this dashboard has its own URL, and I have a job. This job has its own name, its own job URL, and every execution will be having its own build number, like build number 1, build number 2. And if I click on that build, it will take you to my console output. And this console output also has its own console URL. So like this, any job composed of various entities. It can be the job name or the job URL or console URL or a build number. So from where all these things are fetched or where it is stored means it will be stored in its system's environmental path. So if you go to any job configuration, let's say this is my job configuration, and in any job configuration, you'll find an option called list of available environmental variables. I repeat, go to your job configuration page where you can able to set up your build step and all. There you can find an option called available environmental link. So click on this link. It will give you the complete list of environmental variables that are available in Jenkins. Let's say we have something called build number, build ID, build display name, job name, or a build tag. For example, consider this is one of the build tags we can use. Okay. So here build tag means my requirement is I want to print the job name and the build number. From this available environment variable, I want to print the job name and build number. So how to print this means go followed by that variable. So in Jenkins, if you want to print a value of any variable, you should use that variable name within curly brackets. And all those things should be enclosed within double quotes. So this is what the syntax rule or coding standard. And if it is a variable name, it should be prefixed with $. You see? So normally in in your Linux machine, if you want to print a variable, you can use echo followed by the dollar, right? Like something like this. It will print that value of a variable. Anything like this. Quotes, it's required or not, depends upon the type of special characters. But here, this will simply print the value of variable. But in Jenkins, through Groovy, if you want to print any value of a variable, you can use a notation. Variable name should be enclosed using curly brackets, prefix with dollar symbol, and then enclose with your double quotes. Easy. So if you can see this message, I want to print the value of job name and job number. So these are the two variables and it is case sensitive. The job variable names are case sensitive here. It is in caps and it is prefixed with the dollar symbol, and all these things are enclosed using double quotes. So this Jenkins is just a constant value. It's not a variable. So if I run this job, let me save this configuration, click on apply, save this, and let's run this. See here, we have the latest build number. And here you can see the first message, hello, is getting printed. And second, it is printing the content to the file. And the last message, it is trying to print the job name and the build number. Build number is 3. You see? Jenkins, job name, and the build number. Understood? So this is very much important. Why? Because we have a lot of parameters like a build number or a console output or a job name. All the things are like, sometimes consider tomorrow I want to send an email notification to my developer about the status of a job. Let's say we have created a CSD pipeline and we have just performed the application build. And unfortunately, the application build fails. If it fails, we have to send the email notification to the development team. So in that email notification, the content of the email, what you can have. I can't simply say like your job is failing. I can't use a variable, a constant value there. So I can use this environmental variables in my email content. So automatically the value will get populated. Easy? Understood the use case, right? For what purpose we are using this environment variable?
Yes, looks like.
Am I clear with this, all of you? Purpose of environment variable.
To me, it's not that clear, Loksai.
What's the question?
For me, it's not that clear. I'm still confused with it.
That is what. What is the question? Let me know what.
Those environmental variables. You selected something else, and this time you selected something else. I'm not able to
What I
understand the
selected here previously.
job name and build number.
Job name and build number, right?
Yes.
These are the variables we are using in our job configuration. And these are the variables that are considered as an environmental variable. Like we have job number, job name, everything. So what's the confusion there?
So confusion is why you selected that one only, which you have there in the console.
This one?
Yeah.
What's the
Why
problem in
not the
selecting this?
no problem in selecting this, but still you chose this one. Why not the others?
You can choose anyone, yeah. What is the problem? There's no problem at all. It's all just a variable name, right? When I
So
say
any
build tag,
uh,
the job has been executed, the build has been completed. I want to know the name of the job and the build number. The combination of build job name and build number is called as a build tag, right? So I can able to independently handle this. That's not an issue. Similarly, any variable for that matter, like it can be job URL or a branch name tomorrow if you work with your Git repository, anything you can use, that doesn't matter. It is just an environmental variable. which we use. We have a build number here. Are you getting or not?
Yeah.
How about others? Guys, is that okay to continue, or like what is the status? Like, I'm not getting you. Silence is very disturbing now.
No, looks like it's
Yes,
clear.
we
You
got
can
it.
continue.
No, it's clear, looks like.
Yeah, it's clear. All right. So now there is another interesting thing. When I talk about the environmental variable, these are all the variables that are considered keywords. Like in your previous module, like Python also, we talked about some keywords, reserved keywords, which are used by Python. Similarly, here Jenkins uses these reserved keywords for each and every job. And apart from that, we can able to declare our own variables, because whenever I run the job, it will get me the environment related information. But if I want to parameterize my job, in that case, I can declare a variable as per my need. So just go to your jobs configuration page. On top in the general tab, you can see something called this project is parameterized. This job is parameterized. If you click on this checkbox, it will allow you to add some parameters like this. We have a lot of parameters here, depends on the plugins. And if you take any parameter, let's say if I take string parameter, you can find 3 tags here. That is name, default value, and description. It is applicable for all the parameters you use. So name means it is used to identify the name of the variable. Like for example, I can declare any variable name like envi. Envi, I just want to assign a variable name as envi, and the default value I can say like qa. For example, I'm saying. And the description, I can give some valid message. Enter the valid environment. It can be QA, UAT, or prod. So it is something like we are declaring a variable called string variable of, and the variable name is env. The initial value is QA. So this is what declared here, variable name and the default value. And it is just a short description to the user to understand what are the possible values you can have. Now, once you declare the variable, how to use that variable in your job configuration means just go to your command level and you can able to use the same notation. Here the variable name is envi, which I have created, right? That's it. So we can declare a variable and we can able to use that variable in your job step. So that is also represented using the same notation. Prefix with dollar, curly brackets. Save the job now. Now if I run this job, let's say in my previous case, when I go to the jobs dashboard, I can quickly run that job, right? Where is it? If I click on the job name here, see now it is showing us build with parameters. Earlier it was having just a build option. Now it is showing with build with parameters. Means in order to run the job, we need some parameters. So if you click on the build option, see the variable name along with the description is appearing here. And along with the default value. If I'm okay with the initial value, I can click on build now option. It will run the job and it will take this data as an input. Or if I want, I can able to enter any other value and build now. So the latest build is completed. And if I go to the configuration, console output of the job, you can see it has processed my runtime input. Got it? So it is always recommended to maintain your job configuration with some parameters so that the job will be reusable. Let's consider the same example, like why I've given the variable as environment. Consider this is a deployment job. Assume that this job is going to deploy my artifacts to my target environment. Remember, in our yesterday's session and all, we were talking about the workflow, right? Like once the artifact is created, we can promote it to QA environment and then to promote to UAT environment and production environment. So now I have 3 environments and I want to use this job to promote my artifacts to the target environment. If I have 3 environments, can I create 3 different jobs? Or can I use a parameter to control the flow? Are you guys getting my question?
We can
I
use the
believe we can
parameters to control.
parameter to control.
So it is always recommended to parameterize your project so that based upon your runtime input, you can able to handle or perform the transaction. If I say QA, that artifacts can be deployed to QA environment. That logic you have to create depends upon the possible input value. If environment equal to QA, deploy to target server 2. Like that, we can route it. Easy. Understood the importance of variables now?
Yeah.
Both environment variable as well as the user defined variables. Any question?
No, Loksa, it's clear.
So as a best practice, always we will parameterize a job. Why? Because let's say I have around 25 Java based applications has to be built. Application microservices. So if it is a Java based application, which Maven option I can use? I want to create a package means we talked about Maven tool, right? For Java based application, we can use Maven tool, right? So this is a Maven command which I can use. Apart from that, I'll be using my input repository URL, source code repository URL, where I have my application source code. So what I can do, I can create one job. That job will always perform the application build and create the artifacts. If I want to reuse the job for all my 25 applications, I can parameterize that URL here. So at runtime, I can receive this URL. Like that, I can create one job and reuse it for 25 applications. So in order to ensure the reusability and for easy maintenance of your Jenkins project, it is always recommended to handle through your variables, parameterize it. Simple. Any question? Guys? Guys, you are able to understand the scenario, right?
Can you go through one more time? I didn't get actually what you said.
I mean, whenever you want to reuse your job,
Okay.
you just parameterize it. That's all. Like this is a job that is used to deploy your application artifacts to your target servers, right? So I have 3 target servers. If I'm not using this parameter, I need to create 3 different jobs, right?
Yeah.
Now I have parameterized it. So whenever I run the job, I can able to enter the parameter. If I give a enter the parameter as UAT means I can able to write a logic to deploy to UAT environment. Same job can be used to deploy artifacts to production environment. Depends upon your runtime input. Correct? That's it. That's all about the best practices and the real-time uses of your variables actually. Are we good with this or any questions you guys have?
So without using parameters, you have to create 3 jobs for maintaining this workflow, right?
Yeah, that's right. One job is meant for dedicated QA deployment,
and
another for
UAT.
UAT environment, and another for prod. It's totally useless because artifact is same. Target
Mhm.
location also will be same, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
why should I use 3 different jobs there?
Okay.
And if it is fail in this environment with QA and UAT, so what we can do that time means?
Notify the user. That's what now, if you can see my workflow at every level upon production deployment or UAT deployment, we just notify the user, right? That user will be notified and along with the job details, like this is a job got executed, this is a job URL, console output, everything is sent it through email. They can review it and they can correct the issue and trigger it again. Getting your point? Fine.
Yeah, looks yeah.
Fine. So another important thing is troubleshooting the issues, because in our action item, there is one important thing called troubleshooting. Okay. So troubleshooting is the primary responsibility of a DevOps resource. If you are owning the job, if you have created a job, means if there is any issues related to the job configuration, it should be first handled by the DevOps team. If there is any failure in test cases like UAT testing failure or QA testing failure, means that will be taken care by the concerned team. That's not an issue. We just notify them. They will take it further. But if the job configuration of it is failing, right, it is our responsibility. So whatever it is, whether it is based upon the user application or the job configuration, whenever there is any issue occurs, you should know how to identify the issue and fix the issue. Let's say, for an example, consider this is my job and I have some output result, console output here. Let's say I can go to my job configuration, and in this configuration, if I intentionally make some errors, what we can do? Okay, let it be like this. Let me save this job configuration and trigger it again. See what happened? The notification says failed. Earlier it is success, now it is failed, the cross symbol. So if you click on that symbol, cross symbol, it will directly take you to your console output. So whenever the job is failing for any reason, don't get panic first of all, because that is what most of people will do. It is completely our responsibility. Okay, just take the responsibility and navigate to the console output, and you should have a patience to go through the line statements of execution, whatever you did here, because it is completely your project. You made the configuration, right? What all the statements you have created, you are aware of it. So just go through the statements one by one, and Jenkins is having a very good intelligence to identify the error, where it occurred, everything. See here, it has executed the very first line and it has printed that value. And it has also executed the second line and it has updated the file. The problem occurs while running this statement. And while running the statement, it says this command not found. So you have to go to that project and check where you have entered this value. Identify that and correct it. So this is just a small scenario I gave. Whatever the real-time scenario you have for all these things, this is what the process. Navigate to the console output and you should have a patience to read the error message, because Jenkins is clearly showing you what went wrong, what could be the possible reason along with the error description. Only thing is we should able to properly identify that issue first of all. First thing, you should know how to identify the issue. Second thing, you should understand the issue first of all. When I say this value not found means you should able to guess what it could be. You should be able to understand. And once you understand this, go to your configuration and fix it. Simple. You see, this is what the steps we follow to troubleshoot any issue while working in Jenkins. You see, all good?
Alok, sir.
Yes.
Perfect. So I think this is okay for your freestyle project. Next, we'll see how to work with your pipeline projects. Or we'll do one thing. I will stop with this for now because I don't dump a lot of things. Better you practice all these things today, starting from your, I think everyone must have done with the installation. You can start with the plugins management, try to practice all these scenarios, and then go through your system configuration, update your build executors, descriptions, and other stuff, and tools management, user management, security credentials, and then simply create one freestyle project. Just a freestyle project. Got it? Once you're clear with this, including the variable handling, I'm saying, okay, create a freestyle project, handle the environment variable as well as user defined variables. So you should know how to navigate to your environment variable list. From any job configuration page, there is an option called list of available environment variables. Easy? Can you be able to make it?
Yes.
Before you join next session, can you all able to make this? So in next session, we'll talk about our pipeline project creation and the remaining things. Right.
Looks like is there any standard that we just create that environment variable on an enterprise level while we're creating this visual project or pipeline projects?
There is no such standards, but as per the industry, enterprise, right? Company level standards should be there, like naming convention of the variable name, right?
Okay.
All things depends upon the client actually. Apart from that, there is nothing like global one.
Based on the requirements, we just include that environment variable on the builds, right?
Yeah, that's right. So I will update the class notes here for this Jenkins module. Okay, so it's all up to date. So please go through my class notes as well as the class recordings to practice this. Even if you use my class notes, you can able to understand what has to be done, right? You can follow the steps. That's enough. Any question, please let me know now. Yes. Any question? Please let me know.
Yeah, hi, Loksai. So, like, Valip is a default path for a Jenkins. If we install Docker further, is the same path applicable for the Docker as well?
It will be having its own path, right?
Yeah, Valip Docker.
No, not like that. It depends upon
Okay.
the package actually.
Okay.
Like Jenkins gets installed in your var lib under Jenkins, right? We have installed JDK. JDK is not installed in that path. It will be under user lib, usr/lib directory.
Okay.
Similarly, Git will get installed in usr local lib. Like that, each and every package has been created to install in its own default directory.
Okay.
That is how
There is
the
no.
Linux packages
Yeah.
are there.
Oh,
Correct.
Okay.
It's based upon a package manager also.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. So any other questions, or can I open the poll? All good, right? Hope things are clear to everyone. Okay.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I just launched the poll. I think you want to leave. Okay, carry on. I launched the poll now.
Yeah, sir. Hello.
Yes, sir.
I think this is a basic question. I don't want to ask you this, but what's the use of environmental variable and the user-defined variable? What is the use of mainly? What that's true.
See, any programming language has its own keywords, right? Reserved keywords.
Yeah.
Correct. For example,
Yeah.
if you are using your C program, you
Okay.
can use a variable declaration like int x equal to 5.
Yeah.
You are right.
Yes.
So if I say int x equal to 5, so here, what do you call this 5 as? 5 is a data.
Yes, sir.
And x is a
Variable.
variable name, and int is a
Data type.
data type. So can I declare something like this? Is that possible?
No, no, it's not possible.
Not possible, correct? Because
Yes, sir.
this is x cannot be recognized by the OS, as well as the int cannot be considered as a variable name. So
Okay.
any program language has its own keywords, and on top of it, user can use their own variable to identify the data item.
Okay.
Similarly, in Jenkins, any Jenkins object, whether it is a job name or a build number or a job URL or a build URL, right? All these
Yeah.
entities are actually stored, and it can be accessible through this environmental variable. Correct. So environment variables are the reserved keywords that are used by Jenkins to maintain the Jenkins or access the Jenkins components. So using this build
Okay.
number variable, you can access the build number of the job. And you cannot use this to assign a user defined variable. Let's say I have a job and I want to create one more variable here, like add another parameter, string parameter. I want to use a variable name. Sorry, where is it? Like, yes, I can give, but I cannot give like this because it's a keyword. So user defined variables are the variables that are declared by the users to handle some runtime inputs. Correct? Or user data.
Yes. Yes.
Easy?
Nice.
That's it.
At a time, we can able to pass the n number of parameters, right?
Yeah, you can declare multiple variables also.
Fine. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, guys. So any other question from anyone? If you're okay with this, we can close this call. Otherwise, we can connect. Or let me know if you have anything. All right. Thank you.